Tonight, someone near you will die, and somewhere a stranger will stand over that body and not know what to do. That confusion you feel, the awkward silence, the not knowing where to look, is not a modern problem. It is one of the oldest feelings on Earth. But what your ancestors actually did about it will completely change how you see the living. Here is what most people assume. Ancient humans buried their dead, said something meaningful, and moved on. Simple, primitive, efficient. But that assumption is wrong. Dangerously, fascinatingly wrong. Start 300,000 years ago. A Neanderthal dies. The group does not leave the body. They do not ignore it. Instead, researchers studying sites in Shanidar Cave in Iraq found something that stopped the scientific community in its tracks. Pollen. Masses of flower pollen surrounding the bones. Not random pollen that blew in. Intentionally placed flowers. A Neanderthal funeral. A species we once called brutish was grieving. That finding, documented by anthropologist Ralph Selecki in 1975, cracked open a question that science has not fully answered since. When did death become something humans felt? The answer is earlier than you think, far earlier. In South Africa, inside the Rising Star Cave system, a team led by paleoanthropologist Lee Berger discovered something in 2023 that rewrote the timeline entirely. Homo naledi, a small-brained, small-bodied ancient human ancestor, had been deliberately placing their dead in specific chambers of the cave. Deep chambers, hard to reach. Chambers that required navigating pitch-black tunnels just to get to. This species, which had a brain a third the size of yours, was making a choice about where the dead belonged. Let that settle for a moment. Your brain is roughly 3 times larger, and yet the instinct to separate the dead from the living, to give death a place, was already there, hundreds of thousands of years before modern humans ever existed. So what changed? What did your direct ancestors, Homo sapiens, add to this? Everything and nothing. The oldest confirmed modern human burial site is in Kafsa Cave in Israel, dating to around 100,000 years ago. A child's body was found with deer antlers placed across its arms, deliberately, carefully. Someone picked up those antlers and laid them there with intention. Archaeologist Arella Hovers, who studied the site, noted the extraordinary care involved. Care that implied not just emotion, but a symbolic inner world. A belief, perhaps, that the dead were going somewhere. That is the shift, not the burial itself, the symbolism inside it. Because here is where your modern brain enters the picture. By the time you reach 40,000 years ago, you see a different kind of ritual entirely. In Sungir, Russia, researchers uncovered the bodies of 2 children buried head to head, covered in thousands of ivory beads that had been individually sewn onto their clothing. The estimated labor to create that burial, roughly 10,000 hours of work for 2 dead children. A community stopped, invested weeks, possibly months, to send them properly. Why? Why would a group of people surviving on the edge of extinction in an ice age spend that kind of time and energy on the dead? Because the dead were not gone, not to them. This is what psychologist Jesse Baring calls the intuitive dualism theory, the idea that the human mind naturally separates the body from something else, the soul, the spirit, the self, whatever you call it. Your brain, right now, as you listen to this, does the same thing. You do not fully believe that the person you love is only their body. You never have. No culture in human history has ever fully believed that. Not one. Death rituals were never about the dead. They were about the living, convincing themselves that the person who was gone was still, somehow, reachable, present, watching. That is why ancient humans placed food in graves, not for nutrition, for the journey. It is why they smeared the bodies with red ochre, a color associated with blood, with life, with something continuing beyond what the eye could see. It is why the ivory beads at Sungir had to be perfect and numerous and countless. Death had to be honored as thoroughly as life, or the world stopped making sense. And here is the part that should stop you cold. You do the same thing when you post a tribute on social media to someone who has died, when you talk to a photograph, when you keep someone's voicemail saved on your phone and you cannot bring yourself to delete it, when you feel, in some quiet, irrational part of you, that they can still somehow hear you. That is 300,000 years of human wiring activating inside your chest. The flowers in Shanidar Cave, the ivory beads at Sungir, the antlers in Kafse, your unsent message to a contact who will never reply. Different tools, the same impossible ancient human refusal to let go. Tonight, someone near you will die, and without thinking, without being taught, you will know exactly what to do. You will reach out. You will mark the moment. You will make it mean something, not because you were told to, because you were always going to. Every version of you, going back further than memory reaches, already knew how.